Hey everybody, I just want to give a shout out to the channel members. Thank you to Galaxy Fan, Adam Legwig, and Hamala for your support on the channel. Now let's get right into the video. How will the two heads of these warring forces fare against each other? Will the Z Fighters be able to gather the rest of the Dragon Balls and bring back Goku and Raditz? Find out all this and more on the 7th part of What If the Z Movies Were Canon. Lord Slug is flying off towards the direction Zarbon's scouter said Frieza should be. As he gets closer to the location, he is intercepted by the Emperor on the ground below him. Frieza greets the Super Namekian, saying that his planet is pretty nice. It should fare a good price on the galactic market once he's done here. Lord Slug thanks the Emperor for his kind words, but he has no use for his home planet besides its Dragon Balls, which it seems that his went missing once he started fighting those weirdos Frieza sent against him. Frieza is surprised to hear this, saying to Lord Slug that the Ginyu Force failed in stealing his Dragon Balls. That's why he went all of his way to meet the Namekian when he noticed he was heading his way. It seems like there may be a third faction working here. Maybe the natives are using their squabbles for their own advantage. Lord Slug, not completely believing Frieza, says that it doesn't matter if there is another force working against them. Once he takes out the Emperor, he will take back his Dragon Balls and wish for his youth once again. Frieza chuckles, saying he may be able to deal with his soldiers, but he himself is a whole different situation, before he gets into a stance and the two of them face one another. While this fight against the leaders is starting, our Z Fighters drop off the Dragon Balls they stole from Lord Slug in the last part. They tell Bulma that once they get the rest, they will have Dende call upon the dragon and wish back Goku and Raditz. That is when Dende asks what their 3 wishes will be. That is when our Z Fighters find out that the Namekian Dragon Balls can grant 3 wishes and it can only revive one person at a time. As the group leave to head towards the 5 remaining Dragon Balls, Kami thinks of the best way to word each of his 3 wishes. As they make their way towards the Dragon Balls, they can sense 2 strong power levels starting to face off against each other. They see that this is their chance to sneak and grab the rest of the Dragon Balls while they are distracted. Krillin and Gohan sneak onto Frieza's ship, knocking out the soldiers protecting the Dragon Balls, and leaving as quickly as possible, heading back to Bulma and Dende preparing for their revival. As they are leaving, we see Lord Slug and Frieza are pretty much evenly matched, with both of them not being able to take out each other. That is when Frieza says Lord Slug has done good to get this far and this much out of him. He will allow him the luxury that very few people have lived long enough to see. As he finishes saying this, Frieza's body starts to grow in size and his horns become more bull-like. With Frieza now being in his second form, Slug is surprised that he wasn't at his full power during the fight. Slug says that was a neat trick, but he wasn't in his true form either. Before that though, let's explain some of the power levels. As for Frieza himself, his power levels go unchanged, with his first form being at a power level of 530,000, growing to 1 million in his second stage. As for Lord Slug, his new power level, while still in his older form but stealing the power of several Namekians on the planet through force fusion, is at a power level of 520,000. Now in the Lord Slug movie, much like we see in the 23rd World Tournament, he grows into a giant form. Though I believe this is different from the one Piccolo has due to the words both Lord Slug and King Kai say, at least in the dub. Lord Slug calls the giant form his true form when fighting against Goku after he turns out of false Super Saiyan in the original movie. Along with that, King Kai explains to Goku how Lord Slug is from an ancient race of Super Namekians, so I think his giant form does give a little bit of a power increase compared to Piccolo's just keeping the same. I know that might be the case in the original canon, but for this story and this what if, that's what we're going to be using. So once Lord Slug becomes a giant Super Namekian, he has a new power level of 1.2 million, putting him just above Frieza's second form. As for our Z Fighters, they are finally reaching the plateau of their awakening from Elder Guru, bringing them to a new peak. Starting with Gohan, he goes from a power level of 50,000 in part 5 to 400,000. Then for Krillin, he goes from a power level of 22,000 to 150,000. Finally, we have Kami going from a power level of 11,000 to 55,000. As Frieza thinks he has this fight won going into his second form, Lord Slug then starts to transform himself into a giant Super Namekian. He then starts to rain down eye beams on the Emperor, with Frieza not being able to nearly dodge them and go on the offensive. He then flies headfirst straight through Lord Slug's arm, with the Super Namekian yelling out. Frieza, being pleased, is shocked to see the giant Slug rip off his damaged arm and grow a new one in its place. It's going to take a lot more than that to take me down, Frieza, as Lord Slug starts an onslaught of punches and kicks, sending Frieza flying through the air. The Z Fighters finally land back down with Bulma, Dende, and Cargo, and call upon the Namekian dragon. As Dende calls out, the sky turns black, with a much larger dragon coming out of the Dragon Balls. The group is surprised by the vast differences between Shenron and Purunga before Kami steps up to tell Dende that there is 3 wishes. During this time, they were gathering the Dragon Balls Kami was thinking of the best way to word each of their wishes to make use of all of them. First, he wishes for all the Saiyans on Ki Kai's planet to be revived. This being a way to word it, since the Namekian Dragon Balls can only revive one person at a time depending on your wording. This is seen in the Boo arc when Dende wishes for all those who died during the 25th World Tournament to be revived. As for his second wish, he asks the Saiyans on Earth to be brought to Namek. They wait for a moment before finding out the two of them were brought to Namek, but not to their exact location. Kami says this is fine, that he's sure they will be on their way shortly. For their final wish, Kami asks Franga to revive all the Namekians who have died during the invasion. Franga says it is done before the Dragon Balls are sent flying through the air. Shortly after though, the group feels three powerful energies heading their way, with two being the Saiyan brothers, and the final one being the final form Frieza. While the Z Fighters were making their wishes, Frieza, being sent flying, decided enough for games and went into his final form against Lord Slug. He shot multiple death beams through the Super Namekian, causing him to fall to the ground and shrink back down. He then sees the side go black and bring a light coming from afar. He then flies full speed towards that light. Three groups all meet up around the same time, with Frieza being surprised to see Raditz again, thinking he had died on one of his missions. Along with that, he sees two other Saiyans, being glad he has a few more playthings. Before that though, he asks where the Dragon Balls are to Kami, with the Earth Guardian telling Frieza he is too late, that the Dragon Balls have already been used and he has no way of recollecting them at this time. Frieza is enraged, sending a beam towards the Namekian, which is intercepted by Goku, telling the Emperor that it is his fight. Goku tells the others to get to safety, and he and Raditz will deal with Frieza. Goku starts to square up against Frieza, but Raditz steps in front of his brother. The two of them then argue on who gets to fight him first, with it being decided over a game of paper, rock, scissors. Frieza is enraged by this, with Raditz stepping up against him, being the winner of the rock, paper, scissors game. He yells out to Frieza that he will see the true might of the Saiyans, and finally see his fears come to life. Raditz then squats down, yelling out with his large hair starting to glow yellow. Frieza is confused by what is happening, thinking that it can't be what he thinks it is, before Super Saiyan Raditz starts flying towards him, sending the Emperor flying off. Before he went too far into the flight though, he lets go over his gains. Before we get too far into the fight though, let's go over the gains Goku and Raditz had while in Otherworld. Last time we saw the two of them, Goku and Raditz were in the low 10,000s, but with both of them training non-stop for a whole month, along with Goku being able to tap back into Super Saiyan and teaching Raditz the basics, they were able to grow greatly. Raditz goes from a power level of 17,000 to a strong 1.5 million, this being increased from his fights against both Nappa and Vegeta, along with the time he trained in Otherworld with Super Saiyan Goku, which I think isn't too crazy, seeing how Goku went from a power level of 416 to 3 million during the time between fighting Raditz to Frieza. As for Goku himself, he went from a power level of 23,000 to 3 million, with him being pretty much unchanged due to having to teach Raditz Super Saiyan. This of course being raised to 75 million for Raditz once in Super Saiyan and 150 million for Goku. Raditz is able to beat Frieza down, sending him flying through the air and throwing a Saturday crash at him. This causes Frieza to be even more furious, thinking that these low-life creatures are able to do damage to him. He decides that he doesn't care if he can wish for immortality anymore, or if he has to grow his army back from the ground up. None of these people are leaving this planet alive. He then says playtime is over before his body bulks up even further, going into his 100% form. This has him finally be too much for Raditz, with Frieza sending him crashing into the ground with a Nova Strike, leaving Raditz in a crater. Goku, seeing this, sees it's time to tag in and go Super Saiyan, starting to square up against full power Frieza. While they are fighting and the air causes this planet to shake from their punches, Dende runs up to Raditz, healing him from his injuries. This is before Kami hears Elder Guru in his mind asking him to come quickly, that he senses the evil Namekian heading his way. They cannot let him forcibly fuse with him and gain all of his abilities. Kami gets the attention of Krillin and Gohan, asking them to come with him to protect Elder Guru. Outside Elder Guru's house, Nail is on the ground beaten up and damaged, with Lord Slug looking over him, asking if he was the strongest that his home planet could muster, before placing his hand on the warrior Namekian's head. The group land down at Guru's house, just seconds after Nail is assimilated, where an even stronger Slug stands before them. Gohan and Krillin step up, with them telling Kami to check on Guru while they take care of Lord Slug. Slug is surprised to see others on this planet, wondering if these were the third faction Frieza mentioned before their fight. Nonetheless, he tells the two of them that they will be destroyed soon. Once inside, Kami runs over to Elder Guru, asking the Elder Namekian if he is alright. Guru tells Kami that he is not long for this world, saying that all of this fighting and death has put a strain on his body. He is just glad enough he was able to make their wishes before he died. Kami tells Guru to wait until he and the others can get back to Earth and use their Dragon Balls that make Guru good again, before he stops. He tells Kami if he remembers what he asked him when he unlocks his potential. Kami nods his head and asks Guru if he's sure about this, with the elder saying it is the best for him and his people, that he knows that he will make sure Namekians live on after him. Kami then puts his hand with a bright light encompassing the room. With Frieza using his full power, will Goku and Raditz be enough to defeat the evil Emperor? Which of the Namekian fusions will take control of Namek, the Ultimate Guardian, or the Super Namekian? Find out all this and more on the next part of What If the Z Movies Were Canon. With that, y'all, that is the end of the episode, and in the next part, we will see the end of the Namek War arc and continue on to the Android Saga. Make sure if you like this episode to leave a like and comment down below. I hope to see y'all in the next one. Have a great rest of your day, and goodbye.